Obviously, this game, the performance was not good enough. Defensively, we leaked goals. Obviously, without Ridgewell and Chara, you can see we were missing some quality, but that's where your depth needs to step up. They didn't. You know, we had some guys that had really poor performances, and you can't win. You get that, and we got that across the board. But for me, it's the defensive side where I was most disappointed, because, like I said, it just felt like we bled goals. You know, every time they were losing around, it was seemed to be in the back of the net. And, it's not just back forward. You know, it starts with guys on the wings. You know, they got us the first 2 goals wide. We gave the ball away in a bad spot, both of the first 2 goals, and then we just didn't defend. You know, and we've asked our wingers to defend, and on those first 2 goals, they didn't do it. And we've struggled with that all season long. You can't defend 2v2 in this league on the flanks. You're going to be vulnerable. Obviously, there's some turning points that maybe could have changed the game. You know, at 1-0, we could have walked the ball in the goal. Now we're 1-1. Obviously, the decision of the official, you know, not to give a red. You know, I'm sure that'll be a retroactive, you know, which will be our 5th or 6th of the year. You know, so those are factors in the game. But you know, when I look at the overall performance, I didn't think we were good. I didn't think we defended well, and I thought we got some surprisingly poor performances out of some of our key guys, and some of the depth pieces that we had to plug in with some of the absences that we had. You know, when you look at the last 2 games, our Champions League game on Wednesday, and this game, you know, we had 2 key guys out in both of those games. And I think that sums up our season. On Wednesday, Adi, Valeri out, and when we needed our depth to step up and get the job done, they didn't. In this game, you know, Chara, Ridgewell out, and we needed our depth to step up and get the job done. They didn't. And so when I look at the season, obviously, you know, we had injuries, but for me it was more the depth, you know, because you have to be able to manage a season. With injuries, everybody gets them, and if you don't have depth that can get the job done and you're called upon, then you're going to struggle to win games. And I thought most of those situations happened on the road. We lost guys, and that led to us not being good on the road. When we had the group put together mostly at home, obviously we were very good. But you know, there was 4 or 5 weeks ago where I basically said, you know, this is our top lineup. Played that lineup 3 times, we won all 3 games. And you know, the other 3 games that we weren't able to play our top lineup, we lost. You know, so what do you blame it on? You blame it on injuries, you blame it on depth. I blame it on depth because ultimately you have to have a good enough bench to get the job done regardless of injuries. And I think Wednesday and today is a bit of the story of the season.
When you look at, you'll have a lot of time obviously to reflect ahead of next season, but in terms of, I mean, you guys never got that win on the road, the injuries, the depth. I mean, what are the big things that you're taking out of the season and thinking about needing to fix ahead of next year?
Yeah, there has to be some long, hard discussions, reflection on what went wrong. You know, it's a combination of things. But for me, there were holes in the team all year. Some of those holes started with cap-related issues. Some of those holes were compounded with injuries. Put pressure on now the bench to perform. But we dealt with holes all season long in the squad. And, you know, those holes led to inconsistent lineups, lack of continuity, which meant inconsistency in performance and chemistry. And, you know, correct that now. And the real challenge now is to correct that, right? You immediately look at recruitment and new players, which then leads to more, perhaps, chemistry issues. So I think we have to be smart in looking at the roster. We do have still a very good core group of guys, but there'll definitely be some players that were on the fringe and need starters, and guys that are on the bench that we need to look long and hard at and make some tough decisions on, because that's for me where we fell short. Obviously, you hope that you don't have to deal with as many situations over the season where you have as many guys out, but if you do, you have to be prepared. So I'm never at the end of the year going to say, listen, tough season, there's injuries. You have to be prepared with a good bench. We lost some key guys after winning the championship, and some of the new guys were put under some pressure early on to get the job done, and they didn't. So another year, will they? Those are things we have to look at. But we're definitely very disappointed in the season. And there's going to be some reflection and some correction, and there are going to be some changes, certainly, and there's going to be some soul searching. But my job, Gavin's job, and mine, Merritt, starts today. It doesn't make the offseason easy; it makes it harder. So we have to look at those things and reflect on everything, evaluate everything, and make those corrections to have a better season next year.
Vancouver were always going to come out fired up for this game. Were you surprised at how slow your own team started for this one?
Yeah, tough first 10 minutes we were okay, but we made some bad mistakes. Like I said, especially wide. Early on, we just gave them corner kicks, which is never what you want. You have 4 corners in the first 15 minutes or so, and that kind of sends a little bit of a funk in your team and gives them a little bit of hope and life. But I think if you watch it again the first 10 minutes, it didn't look like we weren't up for it at all. It just looked like we made a few mistakes early, but I did think some guys in the back looked very nervy for whatever reason. And you give the ball away, or you kick it out of bounds from the corner. Like I said, it just kind of, I think, gave Vancouver some life. But I look at the first 2 goals, and they're not good goals. They're soft goals. And, that's been the story of the year. Defensively, we've not been good enough. Absolutely. Now, obviously, Borcher's out. Is that a factor? Ridgewell out this game. Is that a factor? Char out. Yeah, of course it is. Jorge Villafana leaving. Of course it is. But we got to figure it out. We got to correct it. And those are things we're going to have to look at in the offseason.